Mumra is so quick to turn into a woman. Fucking love it. So quick. Well, I must disguise myself as this sexy fern. Like, didn't need to be a woman because obviously Tiger's gay, but we'll get into the gay stuff later.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast where we explore various different geekdoms, and sometimes our knowledge is
What? You didn't
intense? What do we normally say?
I don't know.
Sometimes we're experts.
There's nothing that we normally say because we're nothing.
We get it wrong every time. Sometimes we're experts, but sometimes our knowledge is
incomplete.
Hence the name of the podcast.
In case you didn't collect those dots, yes.
It is episode 40.
Oh fuck, is it?
It is.
Nice.
And let me tell you, Thundercats ain't the only thing that's loose. Implying that we're sluts.
I was going to say your butt, but...
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't think we need... But yes, we're sluts. Or, like, loose with your sexuality. Anyway.
Sure.
Or, you know, something along the lines of Thundercats. Ho! You're a ho! I don't know. Anyway.
Nope, don't get those references at all, but I like it.
We're talking about Thundercats, the iconic cartoon of the 1980s, also again the 2000s, and then again. Well, we're just going to... Anyway, we'll get into that.
Yes. This is what you're in store for.
Here we go.
We're definitely not going to ramble.
This chaotic energy, which I think is perfectly suited to 1980s cartoons.
And also, speaking of chaotic energy, a very nice D&D reference as well, which you don't understand. But
no, I don't get that. We're not doing D&D today.
We did ask about Nat 20. That was before we started recording, though. So never mind. Anyway, I'm excited to learn about Thundercats because I never watched it. I've never seen an episode.
I'm going to do all the lifting again, aren't I?
This was... I mean, you fucking chose this episode, so yes.
Because they're iconic. We need to pick subjects that we both know about.
No, that's why we're incomplete geeks.
Like a little bit about it? So you've never watched it?
I've never seen an episode.
Get the theme music up.
Get the theme music up. Okay, this I can do.
While you're doing that...
Mm-hmm.
Shall I give you like a little... I haven't made
Give me
notes
some background.
I haven't made notes on this. I've made notes on the gay stuff, but I haven't made notes on the actual stuff because I have a tattoo of them.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. I had everything about them. I was obsessed with them. Having said that, I didn't realize there was like a season 3 and 4 until I was like in my 20s. So, but I blame that. I grew up in the Middle East. I grew up on a fucking desert island where God help you if you've got a VHS copy of anything, let alone having access. It was never on TV. I don't know how I started watching it.
Interesting. Well, to be fair, there are going to be people who listen to this, if anybody does, who have not seen Thundercats as well. Especially younger people. No offense.
You are 2 years younger than me.
I'm not saying me. I'm just saying people who are younger.
Prime 80s cartoonness.
Yeah.
I think 83.
Actually, it was 1985.
Around the same time as He-Man, G.I. Joe, everything. Yep. All of that joyous, wonderful, lovely cartoon time.
Yep.
Was Thundercats in their prime. The concept is aliens, humanoid aliens with cat-like qualities, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Simple as cleverly, just not very cleverly named.
I didn't even realize they were aliens, but okay.
Yeah, well, they're like cat name things, that sort of stuff. We'll go into more of that in the detail.
Because are they? Wait, is it like an outer space thing?
No. Okay. Do you want to watch the intro?
Well, finish your thought process. Then
no, because there's lots to get into with... So the basic premise is they're aliens, they come from another planet, they land on Earth, bad guys, but I want to go into more detail of that.
Okay.
Each one is based on a big cat.
Right.
We'll go... leader is Lion-O, obviously.
Okay.
Tigra.
King of the Jungle. Tigra, I think yeah, okay.
Chitara.
I've heard this name before, yes.
Panthro.
Panthro.
Yep.
Okay.
Wily Kit and Wily Cat.
Okay, I've never heard of those names.
Wildcats, I guess. Snarf, which is a separate topic entirely.
Is that a pet or something?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
In true 80s style, there's a weird squeaking pet. Not voiced by Frank Welker for a change.
Oh, weird.
There's also Jaga, like a jaguar.
Like Jaguar, yeah, okay.
Who is like the spiritual guide because he's the elder who died. They later introduced 3 more Thundercats: Lynxo, Pumira, and Bengali.
Okay, interesting.
Which we'll talk about later.
Okay.
But they introduced them, I think, like, there was a 5-part one episode, which is a movie, at the end of kind of season 2, and then it carried on. I thought that was the end of the show.
Oh, right.
All through childhood, I saw they introduced these characters. It was this big movie, and I thought, that's the end. Wow. What a time.
send-off.
Carried on for 2 fucking more seasons.
With those characters.
With those characters in it, and I had no idea until I was in my 20s and too old to enjoy the love. So I wish I could go back in time and give you on like the VHS. But let's watch the theme music, because like all 1980s cartoons, the theme music was fucking shit hot.
And it had like information about the characters as well, right? Ish.
Well, they show them off.
Okay.
So
is this one we want? Because this says it's 16 years old. This video.
yes. Oh, it came out. Well, it's fine. I mean, the actual video. It's 40 years
It's
old.
2023.
So,
Okay, vaguely familiar, yeah. That's Snarf then.
oh god, it's so 80s macho, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's lagged.
Look at those skin tight
Oh,
outfits and
don't even get me
muscles.
started.
Okay, very nice.
If you were like a 10-year-old kid and that didn't make you lose your fucking mind, I don't know what would. Like, I love He-Man, I love Bionic 6, I love all of that stuff, but Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
That's like so fucking intense.
So which one is the tattoo? Is it the actual? Oh, okay, it is the Thundercats
The
logo.
insignia.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
Very
so,
good.
they come from... Okay, all of these are... Remember, it's the 1980s, it's cartoons, it's to sell toys. They're not doing it to be genius.
I did notice, like, there was a sword that you could probably buy, like, action figures. I'm
like
assuming.
everything. Like, they just wanted to, like, jack out as many cool toys as possible and make a fuck ton of money. So, they are from the planet Thundera.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
And they reference it a little bit, but I don't know if they go into enough detail. Like, Thundera blows up.
Okay.
So they are all refugees from Thundera.
Oh.
And they kind of gloss over that. It's very dark. Like, they do a couple of flashbacks where they go back in time and you see Lionel's dad, who's, like, dies because he's left on the planet and it blows up.
Yeah.
But also, like, in the first episode, they're in lots of ships and everything, and the mutants are the bad guys. So they are every other kind of animal. So,
Okay.
But the 3 that they are a reptilian, jackal, and a monkey. So Slythe, Monkeyan, and Jackal Man. Oh yeah, there's also
they made it simple for the
there's
young
also
people.
Vulture Man and Rotaro later on, but
Rotaro.
oh yeah, and Rotillo as well. Anyway, so they're the mutants from the planet Plundar.
Okay.
The whole thing is they want the Sword of Omens, which is the big sword that you saw, which has this in the middle. It's a big stone with magical powers called the Eye of Thundera.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the fleet of ships leaving Thundera, the planet blows up, and they're like, fuck, where the fuck do we go now? They're all like literally refugees trying to find another planet. The mutants attack to try and get the sword. They kind of hand wave the fact that they blow up every other ship. So they slaughter every single person apart from
the
this.
mutants do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, and you watch it. You're like, they're wiping out all their ships. We've just killed every single person who managed to escape this planet. They're all fucking wiped out, apart from these 6.
And that's like they're the last people of this planet.
He's the Lord of the Thundercats. He's the Lion, so he's like hereditary. Like he's the next in line to lead it.
Yeah.
But it's really fucking dark. Like everyone dies, and they briefly reference the fact every now and again that Lionel's dad. Oh, he died. It's like Wily, Kit, and Kat are kids as well. Their parents are dead. Whereas their brothers, their sisters, their friends, family, everyone is fucking slaughtered. Anyway.
Yeah.
Another weird little thing that they tried to make interesting, which is weird, at the time when they fled the planet, Lion-O was like 10 years old. So he was a kid.
Right.
Teeny tiny kid like the other 2 kids. He's the next in line to be in charge, that sort of stuff, but whatever. They have to go into suspension capsules, they go and they crash land on Earth, blah, blah, blah. So that's their story, is they're now on this planet.
Okay.
Which they didn't intend to go to. It's just the 6 or 7 of them. 6 of them? 7 of them? Left. In that time, everyone's in stasis. But somehow Lion-O grows up to become an adult. Like his body turns into an adult.
Weird.
So the premise is, like, he's got the brain of like a 10 to 12-year-old child. And they kind of reference that. It's like, oh, he's so young and impetuous. But it's fucked up. It's weird.
That is kind of weird. But they actually, this part of the story is that he's
like
got
a little bit, but he could just be 18. He could just be. He didn't have to do that.
Young leader.
He could be
inexperienced.
He could be a teenager and still look dench as fuck. It's weird that they did that.
Yeah.
It feels like an overcomplication that you didn't really need.
Fine. Okay.
Anyway, so that's the weird and kind of complicated thing.
Okay.
It's not. I lie. So
there's more.
And yet there's more. So they land. So they're on Third Earth, which is planet Earth, and it's just like trying to settle, build up stuff.
So what do they call it? Third Earth.
Ha! Interesting. Let me segue into that. Lovely. So the mutants are one bad guy, so they land on Third Earth as well. For some reason, like all of them land, but then there's only the 3 of them. So I don't know what happens to the others.
They got wiped out!
Well, like, they showed the other Thundercats being wiped out, but they didn't show the others. Like, they're all... Anyway. Hand wave it, whatever, it's the 80s. They're looking for a place to build their fortress, and they stumble upon the deserts of somewhere.
Okay.
Egypt, and they find a pyramid.
Okay.
Black obsidian pyramid. And they go in, and they meet Mum-Ra.
Okay.
Who you saw in the intro.
Did I?
Who is a mummified corpse with magical powers.
Lovely.
Which again, scary bad guy. You think about it, fucking dark. He references, he's been here from a time when this was still First Earth. So basically, we now live in First Earth. It's 3 ages afterwards. So it's mankind's mostly wiped out. Everything's gone. And it's all bonkers shit. There are some humans. You'll occasionally see, like, the warrior maidens. Badass. Love warrior maidens, amazing. But everything else is, like, fucked up Earth. So, like, I don't know, giant bees and, like...
Okay.
I don't know. Little furry Ewok-y kind of things. There's a lot of Ewok-y things.
It sounds vaguely Adventure-timey.
Possibly. Well, I'm sure that might be where they stole it from. So, Mum-Ra's the big bad. It's really fucking creepy. Like, he's this frail, like, necrotic, dead thing in mummy bandages, but he can call upon powers and he makes himself big-ass thing, buff in a little skirt.
What Mum-Ra does.
Yeah, so he goes from Mum-Ra to Mum-Ra! Because it's the 80s. But it's always, like, he's super powerful, but it's always got this really dark kind of twist that, like, and you hear because he does a little inner thought when he meets the mutants. It's like he can go out and leave his pyramid and fight and everything as big-ass Mum-Ra. But he's like, they mustn't know the price they pay. So whenever he comes back, he has to go back into his sarcophagus and that sort of thing. So he's immortal. He lives forever. Wherever evil exists, Mum-Ra lives. But he's like a prisoner in his tomb. He's dead and has to keep going back into his stone sarcophagus, and he's sold his soul and all this kind of thing. So it's really fucking dark.
And he's just like another one of the baddies?
He's the Earth baddie.
Right, okay.
And then the mutants, and so they have a shitty alliance. Sometimes it's them, sometimes it's him, depending on what you want.
Okay. Because you do want like a different sort of...
Sometimes you want like this creepy kind of thing. Sometimes you want these bumbling oaf kind of bad guys. So you have both with them. And they hate each other, so you can kind of have them working together, but also trying to stab each other in the back.
Okay. Maybe
kind of good.
Interesting stories at least.
And because like he's like a dead zombie thing, it's gross and weird and dramatic, and they're all animal based, much more than the dignified cats. The voice acting is fucking incredible because they can be like hissy lizards or like...
Yeah.
I'm not going to do any of them.
No, don't do it.
You're like the monkey. Monkey, they talk like that.
Oh my
or
gosh.
like all that kind of thing. And it's just really 80s. And obviously...
It can't be worse than Australian Wolverine.
No, but these are good. It's good voice acting because they're weird and creepy and...
Yeah, okay.
Brilliant.
Fine.
Yeah. So they're kind of stuck on Third Earth as well. I don't know why. They're all after the sword. They want the sword. It's one of the most powerful things in the universe.
Yeah.
And they fight, and they never win.
Okay.
That's kind of it.
Cool. Like your classic good against evil kind of...
Sure.
And I guess in the 80s, before there was like... before there was binge watching, like if you... Every episode kind of had to reset back.
Yeah. You had the beginning one, which was like a 5-part movie. You had that movie in the middle, and then a few in between that you kind of like, ooh, that's a reference point. But most of it, it's syndicated stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like everything wraps up at the end
so
of the episode.
So you could miss an episode.
Doesn't matter. Obviously, I never ever watched it in order.
Yeah.
We got it on God knows Saudi Arabian TV every 6 years if we were lucky, or came back on summer holidays to the UK and we'd see it on Saturday mornings if we were lucky. So you get what you're given and you get on with it.
Sure. Was there a kind of like a theme, or was there morals that were shared?
There were definitely. It was the 80s.
Yeah,
of course.
Sort of like G.I. Joe was known for that as well, and
He-Man had the lesson at the end. Yes, it was very much like there was always a lesson because Lion-O was a child.
Yeah.
The others were his elders, so he was learning stuff.
Right.
So they were like telling him moral lessons. Like in one of them, they was like the mutants had slaves, and they were talking about freedom, that sort of stuff, and following rules and lies. There was a great episode about drugs. Oh my god, yeah,
love it, because that was the 80s.
Mumra turns into a
cokehead.
Mumra turns into a female plant and gives Tigra some like fruit, which makes him fucking trip balls, and then he becomes addicted. It's fucking awesome.
God, amazing.
It's so good. Garden of Delights. And it's so... Mumra is so quick to turn into a woman. Fucking love it. So quick. Well, I must disguise myself as this sexy fern. Like, didn't need to be a woman. Because obviously Tiger's gay. But we'll get into the gay stuff later.
Okay.
But yeah, he would change into whatever to trick them into anything.
That's what one of his is in his power set.
Sure, he can do all that kind of stuff because it's a fun one.
It's his 80s.
Yeah, he can do whatever. He turned into locusts, whatever. But yeah, turning into a sexy person really quickly just to tempt them.
Yeah,
quick to do that. He loved doing that. Yeah, their kind of moral thing was they followed the code of Thundera.
Okay.
Of course, which is truth, justice, honor, loyalty. And that's kind of like their truth, justice,
and you still remember
honor,
those.
Loyalty. Oh yeah, because they said it all the time, and you watch the same episodes over and over, and over again.
Truth, justice, honor, loyalty.
Which are good ones, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
tell me about a couple standout episodes now.
Oh, okay. Well, if you insist.
I'm literally just covering you.
Insist.
I'm just giving you questions off the top of my head. Keep the episode going.
The best one that was always my favorite, it was a 5-part one.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted, and again, because of the episodic nature of it, living overseas, I never saw all 5 parts until streaming ages.
Oh, right, okay.
It was the thing, literally, whatever. Every Christmas, I would ask, it's like, I want all 5 parts on video. And of course, in Bahrain, my parents were like, nope, sorry.
Can't find it.
Can't do that.
Amazon doesn't
But
exist
now
yet,
I
so
have
we
all
can't-
5, and they're amazing.
And you can view it on Amazon Prime as well.
I don't know where you can view it. I should check. I downloaded all of them years ago, so I have them all. It was called Lionel's Anointment Trial. Okay?
Yeah.
So his father was Claudius or whatever, so he was the ruler of the Thundercats on Thundera, and as we said, he's the hereditary lord, and they always referred to him as that. And as a kid, I was like, I don't know what that means.
What?
Hereditary lord of the Thundercats.
Okay.
And they did mention that quite a lot. And when it was nondescript birthday, he wakes up and everyone's gone, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? And Snarf, the anointing person, says, he's like, I'm the Lord of the Thundercats. He's like, you're the hereditary Lord of the Thundercats.
Mm-hmm.
You have to earn it. So you have to pass trials, 5 trials, competing with each of the other Thundercats.
Oh, right.
To earn your right
to
be ruler.
So up until this point in this series, he was just called
He's the Lord of the Thundercats, but
yeah.
kind of done and they kept, and because I didn't know what that fucking word meant, and then they explained it's like, which was really cool. So he had to. Trial 1 was fighting Panthro in a trial of strength. Trial 2 was Chitara in a trial of speed. Trial 3, I should say who they are. I should say who the characters are.
We kind of said, you said their names, and that was kind of...
You can kind of guess it.
You can guess,
We'll go. This is a great way to go through it.
Okay, fine. So let's start with the first one.
So Panthro, trial of strength. Panthro is a panther.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Super strong. He is the mechanic, so he built the thunder tank, or the weapons, or the vehicles, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I think it's also important. He's obviously a black panther, so he's a black character. He's drawn as a black guy. He's voiced by a black guy.
Right. Okay. I was gonna ask that. But I didn't know how to ask it.
Yeah. No, it's true. I didn't really realize that until I was older. I was like, oh yeah, of course he's black. But
yeah,
he's kind of bluey, but he is black. He's drawn with a skinhead, and he's voiced by a black guy.
Okay.
But he's a big honking thing. He wears. This is so 80s. He wears... Are you Googling pictures of Panthro?
I'm Googling pictures of all of them.
He wears small blue pants and a harness with spikes.
Is that the one?
That's Panthro. And his weapon is the nunchucks, but he makes all the weapons and everything like that.
Okay.
Incredibly strong, but he's not necessarily... He's a little bit gruff, but not... He's not miserable. He's not like, the one you need to win over. He's a lovely guy. Yeah. He's like, don't touch my thunder tank! That sort of stuff. So he's super, cute. And super strong. So there we go. So, first episode, Trial of Strength. He has to beat Panthro. It's a great episode. And, they're fighting, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to win. And then there's a rock slide, and they work together. Oh, it's great.
Does he, get one chance to succeed or fail? Or is it like a problem that he has to figure out how to overcome? No,
it's up to them, I guess, how they run their trial.
Yeah, I'm just so into this story now suddenly.
It's so good. It's so good. They're fighting and that sort of thing. Lionel, there's a volcano earthquake, and Lionel falls down a crack in the thing, and they're forbidden to help him during the trials. Obviously, they have to do their best to beat him, otherwise it means nothing.
Yeah.
He falls down a crack, and he's like, I can't help you. And he's like, fuck it, no, never mind, I'm going to help you. He's like, no, I'm going to do this my way. And he gets out and helps himself. So Lionel, blah, blah. But there's a rock slide, and it's going to, wipe out a village. So Panthro's holding up a giant boulder, and then he gets hit and injured, and he can't hold it up. So Lionel takes it, and he holds it, pushes it up. He's like, I can help you. You can't help me, but I can help you. So he pushes it up, and he saves the day.
Okay.
Lionel for the win.
And the moral of the story is, we help each other.
It's stronger to help each other or whatever.
Yeah.
It's sweet. Panthro's a sweetie, but a badass and sexy as fuck.
Okay.
Day 2, Trial of Speed.
Yeah.
Chitara. So the female Thundercat is obviously a cheetah.
Yeah, got that.
Super fast. Simple thing, the episode is a race. But the kind of trick is, as we know, because they also have the people who aren't competing are back at the lair watching. my god, I'm having so much fun. This is so good.
No, keep going.
They're
keep
back
going.
at they're back at the lair watching, and so they kind of give us and each other the thing. They're like, the kids are like, there's no way he can win a race.
So they're giving commentary, basically.
Yeah, he can't win a race against Chitara. She's a cheetah. She runs like...
She's a what?
She's a cheetah.
Oh, yeah, I thought... Yeah,
Chitara. So she runs lightning fast. He's like, this is stupid. There's no way. It's like, the trick is, like cheetahs, she can't run long distances. She can run incredibly fast, but only for a short distance.
Okay.
The trick is, Lionel has to not give up. If he sees her disappearing off in a cloud of dust, he could be like, I've already lost. But if he keeps going,
yeah,
she will tire and he can catch up. So the point is he has to not give up.
Not
they
give up.
explain
so
that.
You,
it's like
you know this because of the dialogue they're having at the base.
telling the kids, it's like, she can run for 2 miles, that's it. And then she's wiped out. If he gives up, that's it. He's done. But he has to be strong-willed enough to just carry on. And he makes the decision to take like a dangerous shortcut rather than doing the long route, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then they have the race right at the end. Oh, it's so good. And she can't tell him this. And she's like, I can't, like, they race and he just beats her. And he's like, you let me win. It's like, it's forbidden. I can't do that.
Yeah.
But you didn't give up. Like, I had nothing left and you kept going. And
in spite of him taking the shortcut.
Well, they meet at the end. So, like, she's fucking wiped out by then.
Okay.
But they have the little bit. They can see the finish line. And head to head, he's like, I can't beat you. It's just to kind of put that point home. It's like, I cannot beat you. And she's like, here we go. And he does, because he doesn't give up. This is great. Oh, this is great.
I love that you're enjoying this.
Oh, okay. I'm enjoying this so much more than I thought. She also
Spoilers for this show, by the way. I'm just kidding.
She also has psychic powers, but we'll get into that in another episode.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because she's a woman.
Because she's the female, yeah.
They give psychic powers. No need for that, but we love it.
Of course.
Day 3, the Trial of Cunning. So it's him versus Wily Kit and Wily Cat.
Together?
Yes.
Okay.
So Wily Kit and Wily Cat are the kids.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Wildcat, Wily Kit, Wily Cat.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Kit and Kit and Cat, sure.
So their thing is, obviously, they're wily as well.
Okay, cunning, yeah.
So they have, their weapons are like little, like trick pellets and that sort of stuff. It's very like kid, cheeky sort of stuff. Like, so for that episode, they have to go through a maze in a mountain, that sort of thing, and find their way out. And they're going to use every trick in the book to kind of trick him to go the wrong way, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They meet these little mole people in there, and he helps them save the day. Oh, they're so cute because like they can't look at the light.
They're like the blind moles.
Yeah, and then like they fall into like a crevice like by lava, and they like have to try and they pull him out because he's nice. He helps them, so they help him. But it hurts them. It burns their eyes. Oh, they're so cute, but they help him because he helped them.
Okay.
And right at the end, he's like talking to them, and he puts their, like, they have a lariat that's...
The mole people, or the
kid and
cat, yeah.
He, like, ties their lassos together, so when they run for the finish line, they're caught on something, and so he tricks them, so he wins.
Oh, he tricks them back, that's funny.
Boom! It's cute!
Okay.
I loved Wily Kit and Cat, obviously, because they were the kids, and I loved the kids. And I always played as Wily Kit, and I didn't realise she was a girl.
So they're both girls?
No, Cat is a boy.
But Cat is traditionally a girl's name, and Kit's traditionally a boy's name.
Yeah, but it's a cat and a kit. Anyway.
Okay, fine.
Wily Kit, Wily Cat. Anyway.
Yes.
Day 4.
Day 4.
The Trial of Mind Power, which I think is a weird, clunky one.
Well, it's like you want to...
It could have been
will. You want to be the king of the Thundercats.
It could have been willpower, or whatever. So this is him against Tigra.
Yeah.
Tigra, what animal do you think he is?
Orangutan.
Bobcat. I should have had Bob. That would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So he...
Not Tigra.
No, Tigra.
Why is Tigra in my...
There's a million characters.
Whatever, fine. Okay.
So his power is he can turn invisible. Because, like, camouflage like a tiger.
Right, okay.
He has a bolo whip that he, like, swings around himself and he turns invisible.
Okay.
In true cartoon style, in this one, they find out that he can also create illusions, which is kind of similar to being invisible. But this is the only time he ever uses it.
Okay.
And they're like, And again, they kind of explain it. The kids are like, "Why hasn't he used this like any
back
other
in the
time?"
lair. Meanwhile, back at the lair.
And the explanation is, using his illusions is a terrible strain on Tigra. He's been saving up all his energy for Lionel's anointment trial. He uses it for this one episode. Never again.
Never talks about it again.
Never again.
That's hilarious.
So the purpose is, like, again, they're on a thing through the mountains, and Tigra casts illusions to trick him. So he has to be wise and mature enough and have the strength of will to realize, it's like, think logically, it's like, that's not real. Like, I know, like, he would say, "Oh, help, someone's calling for help." It's like, I know that's not real.
Hence
there's
the
no
mind-powered
like,
trial.
I don't know, like, there's no shadow, or like, oh, I just saw them. It's like, no, this is obviously a trick.
And he knows that Tiger can do this, correct?
He only knows when he meets him. Like, he never knew he could do this, so there's the trick.
Okay.
And the end of the episode is like, before this day's done, you will have to face your greatest fear.
Okay.
And his greatest fear is the explosion of Thundera. So Tiger makes him go back and like see the explosion again, that sort of stuff. And he has to be strong-willed enough to overcome it. It's like, it's not an illusion. It's like, oh, my entire planet, all my family, my friends have just been killed. But he has to be strong-willed enough to say, that's not real. And break the illusion kind of thing. And he does.
Okay. So it's just kind of like I have to just try really hard.
It's like, it's not real. I've already lived through this fucking horror. I have to get over it. I have to carry on, move past it, that sort of stuff.
I guess when you're
good, isn't it? Oh, this is good.
When you're writing the episode, you think, okay, each character has to be featured in one. Like, what can Tiger do this? He has to come
like invisible whip powers.
Like, find him, I guess?
So they just kind of made it a little bit fancier. But it's cool. He could have used his powers like every now and then. Like, Chitara has psychic powers. Anyway. And then the last one, he has to battle Mumra, his big villain.
Oh, right.
Which is a good one.
I'm glad that they roped him into this trial.
Well, like, you've beaten everyone else. Now you have to defeat your greatest villain to kind of prove it.
Does he have to beat Snarf at all?
No. Snarf doesn't do anything because he sucks. Which, would be interesting because no other like generation of Thundercats or Lord of the Thundercats has ever been on a foreign planet with a magical enemy. Like their biggest villain would have been a mutant or a political rival or something like that. Whereas he has to defeat this undead sorcerer from ancient Egypt.
Yeah, well, that's the 80s for you.
That's good. So he breaks into his tomb and that sort of stuff, and that's where you have like weird, creepy. Oh no, I don't know if that's in the film. Like, you see mummified people, and his liner makes the joke of like, oh, what is these? His like relatives, and then Mumra, because Mumra has a magical pool that you can watch everything.
Okay.
Because of course.
Yeah, because of course.
He's like, no, they're my prisoners, and it's so dark. Like, all these people just mummified. It's like, no, they're my prisoners. Like, that's fucked up.
What?
That's so fucking creepy. Like, these throwaway comments just to be like, dramatic. It's like, that's horrible.
Yeah, when you think about it.
Horrifying.
The kind of stuff that animators got away with back in the day.
I know. So they fight, and the trick is, like, he's like, you can't beat me, whatever. And he throws a thing at him, and Mumra jumps out of the way, but then it smashes into his sarcophagus, the thing he needs to go in to regenerate, and it cracks it, and then he fucking freaks out. And so he breaks it, and then he, like, disintegrates into dust.
Oh.
But then comes back.
Because of the 80s.
Because of the 80s. He's like, wherever evil exists, Mumra lives. So he does beat him. But
so that could have been like...
That could have been the finale.
That's a really hard trial.
It's a really difficult one.
So if you want to be king, you must save the universe.
Just fix everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about Mumra.
Okay. Good episodes. So I'll probably watch... If I ever watch this...
You watch the 5-part start. You watch the 5-part starter, which is the
first 5 episodes ever. Okay.
You watch those 5, the Anointment Trial, and then you watch the season 2 finale 5, where they introduce the new cats.
Okay.
There's some other good ones, which I will talk about.
Okay.
But we should talk about Mumra, because he's a really good bad guy, because fucking creepy.
Yeah, go on.
So he lives... Yeah, he has the pyramid. There's, like, totems around it. Is
that him? With
sure
the red
is.
hood?
Sure is, but he turns into, like, a big... stonking one as well.
Okay.
He serves the ancient spirits of evil, because he has to say, ancient spirits of evil transform this decayed form into Mun-Ra, the ever-living, and that turns him into, like, the big guy.
Oh, he's got a catchphrase.
Yeah, that's his transformation spell.
That's fantastic.
So, he's in this, like, tomb, and he's got 4 totems with different animal heads, kind of very Egyptian, gaudy kind of thing, although they never mention Egypt. Which is fair enough, because if this is post-dystopian thing, Egypt doesn't exist. None of it exists. Yeah. Human society doesn't exist, so it's not Egypt.
And then also it really ties in with the whole animal theme.
Yeah, for sure. And the mutants even say, it's like, there's animals. It's like, is this like an ancient race of mutants? But it's not. That's just okay. a throwaway line, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has this big cauldron, obviously, that he watches them, and that's how you kind of get the cut back and forth. Like, they'll be doing something, he's like, oh, I'm going to interfere, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's, like, watching the anointment trials, and he's like, oh, I'm going to make the... whatever, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Magical, so it's kind of like, what do you need him to be able to do?
Yeah.
Like, he makes a copy of Panthro at one point. He turns himself into a Puma character called Pum-Ra, so that he can infiltrate it. Obviously, he can shapeshift. He can summon Driller, a guy with a drill tail, or
whatever the episode needed.
Ghost Viking pirates, which is Hammerhand.
Ghost Viking pirates.
I can't. The Berserkers. Hammerhand, Topspin. Oh, they're just like toys, but like.
Is this where your love of Vikings came from?
No, because they were not sexy.
Oh, okay, fine.
My love of Vikings came from Vikings.
Fine.
And yeah, so he's magical powers, so he can kind of. What do you need him to do? At one point, he summons a samurai to fight, which at the when you rewatch it, you're like, oh no.
Oh really?
Very obviously voiced by like a white guy. It's like, for my honor, I do. We're like, no. He's called Hachiman. You're like, no, stop it.
Back in the day, yeah.
It's a good episode though. But anyway, all that kind of stuff. Any old weird thing you need him to do, he can do it. But he's dead. Another thing about him, he can't. The only way to kind of casually defeat him is he can't stand the sight of his own reflection, which he learns by accident, because when he's in his big mode, he still sees it as the one with the hood and that sort of stuff. Which kind of makes sense because he used to be human, according to the comics.
Yeah.
And sold his soul, and now he's this dead, as you've seen, disgusting, decrepit mummy thing. So when he sees his reflection, he freaks out and runs away.
When you say comics...
They did like a Wildstorm did a few comics, and one of them was like an origin of Mun-Ra, which I only like saw recently. So like he was an ancient Egyptian priest. He sold his soul, or whatever they would say, to defeat the emperor. Got entombed, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of ancient Egyptian stuff.
Mumbo jumbo.
Without saying Egyptian, which is good because
fine,
probably some
probably going too loud
errors there.
So is he like the long-lasting villain throughout the series?
Yeah. Well, the mutants as well. So you had Slythe, Monkey and Jackalman, Vulture Man, and they were the kind of like more like everyday scheme kind of
henchmen kind of people.
Yeah, but sometimes they would do it without Mun-Ra because they knew they want that as well.
Sure.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
So then how... So that's... Okay. Anything else you want to say about Mun-Ra? Because I want
to just the guy who voiced him was fucking brilliant. And like he always had spit in his mouth. So like
like the animation.
Like the lines of spit between his lips. So we would always call it Mun-Ra lips. You know where you sometimes like if you have really dry lips you get spittle between your lips. Like, that's Mun-Ra lips.
Gross.
He has that all the time. It's like pure like campy villainness. So dramatic, and it's so fabulously camp. Everything's he's got a cape and everything, and then he wears a skirt and everything's a big dramatic scheme. So
cape and a skirt,
perfect in the 80s.
Yep.
Joy. Any other questions? Or there's a few more episodes I can talk about, but
well, talk about the new characters that come in. at season.
Excellent. Yes.
Talk about the finale of season 2, where the new.
So yeah, that was I saw it as a movie. It was released on VHS. Thundercats. Ho! Because he said that's what he says.
Oh, right, yeah.
An important part. We haven't talked about Lion-O. Sorry, everyone. We've gotten this far in and I haven't talked about Lion-O.
What else is there to say about Lion-O?
He has the Sword of Omens, which is the one with the Eye of Thundera in it. And so what it can do is it's a dagger. It's like a small dagger size.
Yeah.
But when he needs it to,
it can extend.
Yeah, it can grow in girth.
Sounds pretty gay.
And he can use it to summon the other Thundercats, which kind of fits along the line. He's young, doesn't know what he's doing, and he says, as you saw in the beginning, thunder, 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 Thundercats, ho! And that shows the light. So whenever he uses it to blast with some sort of magical power, he has to shout, ho.
Okay.
So ho.
As in
ho! All
like
that kind
Westwood
of stuff.
Ho or something like that.
All of that stuff. He can also, the hilt kind of curls upwards, and if he looks through it, he gets sight beyond sight. So he can see when people are in danger, or if he needs to find someone, that sort of stuff. He can see sight beyond sight, which is cool. A cool power.
Yeah, it's like the way that they adapted it with Superman being able to hear everything when in power.
That kind of makes sense. Yeah.
So how is he as he's the main focus, he's the main hero.
He is.
And as kids who identify with him, that's the kind of the point.
He is, and it's kind of the detriment I always felt, because I think all the characters are cool and have cool powers and really cool fucking weapons and cool things. Everything was always about Lion-O. That's all that mattered. Obviously, he was in every episode, but a lot of them were just Lion-O episodes where he'd go off exploring, or Lion-O and Snuff, or Lion-O, and then people come in at the end of the day and they save him from the Spider Queen and sort of stuff.
Okay.
It's there is never, or at least hardly ever, a Chitara episode. There's probably 1 out of 130.
And Lion-O's still in it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think he wasn't not in it, but the focus is always his POV. It's always Lion-O. It's here comes this person, here comes that person, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is a shame. It's a waste, because they're all very different and weird, different powers, different also personality traits. Yes, he's young and impetuous and wants to prove himself and fix things and figure everything out. You got Panthro, who's the gruff, badass daddy. You got Tiger, who's the leader of the council, so he's actually the one in charge of all the other stuff. He's the architect, so he's the smart, older kind of one.
He's the king's hand kind of thing.
Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah. So he would have been in charge. If Lion-O was still a kid, he probably would have done most of the decision-making, everything. Chitara is the woman.
That's all she does.
That's it. And then the kids are also cheeky and causing trouble and mischief and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of cool personalities and stuff. And it was just always Lion-O led.
Yeah.
Which I suppose I get, but if you weren't a young, boisterous boy, which obviously was the target audience, you obviously identified with some of the other characters.
Yeah.
And they were not as important. And
that's
very much the story was your secondary to this male character.
To the male leader kind of thing. I guess that makes sense.
That being said,
it'd be more of a
Lion-O was really fucking hot.
Okay. So you didn't mind it so much.
Now is it oh god. He had, so obviously everything was bondage outfits because it was the 80s. Everyone's in tiny pants.
Why side note, why was that a thing in the 80s? Comics? Was it because of comics?
Because of Speedos. People always wore Speedos and things like that.
Did they?
In the 80s, yeah.
Okay.
That kind of small thing. I don't know. Speedos were a thing a bit. That was just, leotards. Everyone was wearing leotards for working out and Speedos for swimming. Everything was small, snug, crop tops. Pure 80s. So great. So...
The good old days.
He had blue pants on, and then a kind of harness thing, sleeveless vest harness top.
Yeah.
With an ab window.
Of course.
Because he had when
and you were show me.
He was a little kid at start, and it just kind of looked like pajamas because he was a 10-year-old.
Yeah. And
then they gave him the grown-up outfit, and it has this ab window popped out.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm seeing that. Yeah. Like that.
I mean,
that's probably fan art.
It's a weird fan art one, but yes.
Ab window.
A red-headed muscle himbo kind of thing.
This might be the more recent iteration of...
That's from the DC comics, because DC
Okay.
owns them now.
Oh, right, okay.
So I wrote some notes about them. It's like, which Thundercat would have turned you gay, and what does that say about you?
Okay, well, let's talk about the gay then.
This is purely my notes. For once, I didn't steal it from anyone else.
No external research was done.
Yeah, it was later on, but anyway. So, Lion-O, young, dumb, and full.
Right, yeah, okay.
Hot and hot-headed. He means well, but doesn't really think.
Yeah.
He blames his youth because he's like 10, but he's also 20.
Yeah.
And he's always like thrusting his phallic sword that grew whenever he was in danger.
This is Nicholas just trying to make everything gay.
It wasn't a stretch, because it was the 80s. Like, everything about it was...
They probably had like innuendos galore.
But also everything, again, like the best gay stuff that we enjoy now are kind of staples of the 1980s. We've got short shorts, buff bods, crop tops, multicolored outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
everything that made the 80s is gay now.
But the thing is, like, that. So what that means is that they might not have meant it to be gay back then, but it sure fucking is now, because now we're gay and we want to be. We're emulating that.
It's difficult. Like, I don't know how anything in the 80s wasn't gay. Like, you know how we've said, like, Harry Potter and Doctor Who, that was from the 70s,
sure,
English, is just not gay.
Yeah.
Whereas anything cartoony made in the 80s is gay.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got tons of cartoons made now that aren't. There's no campness, and campness is just the 80s. It just kind of comes with it.
Do you think like in another 20 years...
Maybe.
There'll be something else.
Maybe
stuff from like the late 90s, early 90s was like...
No, but the whole point, the 90s were like like antithesis of the 80s. We went like flat, grunge, moody, that sort of stuff, because the 80s was so camp for so long. It was kind of the opposite of it. Like the 70s or whatever was hippie, that sort of shit. It's kind of like that,
I suppose.
Anyway, carrying on with characters.
With gay, yeah.
Tigra.
Yeah.
Fit, slim, asymmetric outfits. He turns invisible so he could watch.
So you can what? You whispered there.
He could watch, but not be seen. His outfit, he has his toes out, just in case you're into feet.
Okay. Yeah.
He's kind of like a father figure. So he's like the grown-up, mature, wise. He's not like emotional like the other ones are.
Okay.
And because of like the colouring of it, he's got, tiger stripes here, but it's like white, because tigers are white, so it kind of looks like he's a little bit grey.
Right, okay, yeah. So,
like
daddy.
A little bit daddy. Calming, secure, smart, but also shredded.
Of course.
But doesn't have that like Panthro line of stuff, but he's of course shredded.
Yeah.
More subdued, like it's in my little off-the-shoulder number.
Yeah.
My little toes are out.
Okay.
He's got a whip, for Christ's sake. Everything was bondage back then. So
it's like, did they not know how else to depict weapons, I guess?
Everything was bondagey. Chitara.
Mm-hmm.
Either a drag queen or a lesbian, depending on the episode. So
really?
she had this really deep voice like that, and obviously cheetah marks, which made it look like massive eyeliner, and
right?
like
Yes,
that sort of thing.
I've seen stuff like that. Yeah.
She's a speedster who's a little bit flirty, but not really. Like she says, "Oh, he's so handsome," kind of thing. And the only woman, but there's no romance, obviously, because he's 10 years old.
Of course, yeah.
There's nothing with Tiger, because obviously he's gay. Panthro just is not interested. There's no romance, anything, anywhere, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
She never does anything with the male characters. So
there you go.
Could be lesbian. That's from the new one, so let's not talk about that. She has massive, massive boobs, because it's the 80s, but also super lean and really muscular, because of course she is, because they all are.
Of course, yeah.
Heavy eye makeup and random psychic powers, because she's a girl. You've got to give a girl psychic powers.
I mean, they did the same with the X-Men, didn't they?
Girls have psychic powers.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what you do.
Because girls fuck with your mind, because they're evil.
Panthro. buff black leather daddy who drives a big tank and is good with his hands.
He drives a big tank.
He drives the thunder tank, baby. but he's like, ugh, but he's also like, yeah, that's my baby. He's like really like,
yeah.
It's not a toxic masculinity, but it's a lot of masculinity.
But
it's a very
buff, masculine.
Present.
Yeah, okay.
Essence of masculinity.
Okay.
I think I may be into panthro now.
Speaking of, as you grow older.
I think I've moved into that. Wiley, Kit, and Kat were children, so you shouldn't be pubbing over them.
I've seen pictures and I don't.
And Snarf. If you're pubbing over Snarf, no.
What is Snarf anyway?
Snarf is a Snarf.
Right.
From the planet Snarf.
Is he from a different planet?
Who says Snarf?
Oh, was that it?
They really didn't stress. He can talk, but his speech impediment, he says snarf, snarf every now and then. Which was a wonderful impression of him, by the way.
Just now?
Snarf, snarf,
he looks
snarf,
gross.
Snarf. Yeah, he's the annoying character. He's like the nursemaid kind of thing. Which is also could be, if they made him buff, it'd be quite sexy. Because his job was to look after Lino because he was a child. He was a child. He was a 2-year-old child. So he was his nanny, nursemaid, caretaker to make sure he was doing his studies and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Because his dad was wiped out with everyone like that. But then he became a hot 20-year-old and it's like, I don't need you anymore. Stop fussing over me, kind of thing.
Just go back to your cage.
I'm fully grown. Look at me. I don't need you.
And Snarf was like, eat your vegetables. Snarf.
100%, I'm sure he said that. Which of those kind of characters do you think is most appealing for you as a non-watcher? Just based on description.
Appealing to me in
that
way.
Like the young, dumb, full of cum. Lino.
Oh, Tiger, definitely.
This.
Give me the daddy.
He's like the smart daddy.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the buff, not buff panthro, not the young himbo. Not best friends with the drag queen.
No.
Yeah.
I'll go for the daddy.
Oh, Tiger. A lot of people. Tiger was the gay kind of, because he was a little bit. He didn't look older, but he acted older.
Yeah, I'm sure that was intentional.
He definitely had a gay quality to him because he was like, Lino, headstrong, panthro, even Wiley Cat had a female opposite because his sister, that kind of back and forth male energy. He was always worse at everything than Wiley Kit, which I loved.
Really?
She was better on the spaceboard, which was their flying hoverboard because it was the 80s because it was
of course,
skateboards. She was, faster and smarter, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he was the kind of, but you had the.
Because nowadays, girls have to be smarter in order to be treated as equal.
Yeah, so I think Tiger was a lot of gay guys' favorite because it was like a comforting, but still really sexy.
Sure.
Really strong and buff, but he didn't punch stuff. He was smart and he was invisible and
down to
outsmarted everyone.
And a bachelor.
A confirmed bachelor, yeah. A little off the shoulder number, a little symmetric leotard outfit. Good, excellent choice there.
But like nothing is confirmed or mentioned about it in the show because
and it's a shame. So they did I have so much more to talk about though. Oh, anyway, they did a
episode. A 2 episode.
They did a reboot in 2000 something, so quite early in the 2000s.
Should I confirm this?
And I had such high hopes because it was a Warner Brothers cartoon. The animation looked incredible. They tweaked the idea a bit, like they didn't come from another planet, like they were on the same planet. It was just the kingdom of whatever, Thundera, that sort of stuff.
2011,
okay.
Is that right?
They updated it a little bit so it wasn't as campy and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Okay.
It did not work.
Okay.
I think because everything I've said with such fervor and excitement about them is camp. They are fun. Like, they all had their own individual music so that who was fighting.
You mean in the recent one or the old one?
No, in the original.
Okay.
So they each had their own kind of theme version ones, and I still, when I need to run fast, I sing Chitara's theme in my head.
That's amazing.
But, and it just perfectly encapsulated. You had the gruff, I'm in a thunder tank one, the kind of sly, slick Tiger one, the fast-paced running music for the girl, and then the kind of cheeky ones for the kids. And that was so
Yeah, it fits.
cool and like very much designed for, I don't know, I loved all that kind of thing.
It made it easier for, like, it's just music cues.
It just made it more stylized. Yeah, and
They still do that
and you really
nowadays.
resonated with them. And it was 80s music and cartoons was so good because it was the same thing. It was really well composed, but it was the same thing, bits over and over again, like in He-Man and She-Ra. So you knew when it gets serious, like the bad guys, the music changes,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the same music, so you know every time. It's like, oh shit, Mumra's right here, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Or like, do-do-do-do-do-do. All right, Chitara's running on screen. It was that kind of combination of like stylized kitchen, like designing for toys, for themes, that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
so
It made it that kind of
purposely had it with
cereal
toys in mind.
box vibe, but still brilliantly animated. The 80s animation was sensational. Like,
Yeah.
buff and strong, but also cool action. Like you saw that fucking intro. Everything
Yeah.
was like on fucking roids.
It was just a
and
different
speed.
kind of animation back
Oh.
then, wasn't it?
And like the animation was good, but it like toned it down to kind of make it seem more. It was flat. And some of the voice acting, I'm sorry guys, you're very well respected. Lion-O, bad casting. Mumra, bad casting.
I recognize these. I was looking at the cast just now, and like I recognize his names. Yeah.
You recognize who they are?
I've seen the names before. I couldn't tell you what else they've
Panthro
done.
was Kevin Michael Duncan Richardson,
yeah.
who was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they drew him huge, and
Yeah.
he was great. No notes for you, Panthro.
Good job.
But like, yeah, Lion-O was not very good, and Mumra was that annoying guy who was in the thing, and he just was this weedy. He just sounded like a rapist rather than a. The voice of Mumra is this just cackling, camp, kind of character. And they made him so, and I'm Mumra. And it was like, oh, this is gross.
Really?
They gave him a tank at one point and made him an alien. I'm like, no. He is an ancient Egyptian priest, and you've given him the Mumra tank with his face on it. Fuck off.
Okay.
It just didn't work, and there was an overarching story, which should have been good. You know, they were trying to find whatever stones in Thundera, blah, blah, blah. It just, it didn't really... Which is a shame.
Fun fact: the guy who did the voice of Tigra in the recent one is the guy from Vox Machina, the narrator. So he's the DM when they did the Critical Role stuff.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
him.
he was fine. He was alright.
Yeah.
But the big, Lion-O and Mumra are your big dramatic
Yeah.
voices,
You got it. Yeah.
and he just didn't do it well enough.
Okay.
If
Nick's reviews.
you're gonna, it bombed
Yeah. It's
very quickly.
the
It was
Wikipedia says
cancelled.
it was only on for 2 years.
Yeah, it was out very quickly.
Yeah.
They recently did another version of it for Cartoon Network.
Yep.
Thundercats Ho.
Roar.
Thundercats Roar.
I only know that because
I got confused with Teen Titans Go,
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
which
yeah.
is very much like that. They went
Yeah.
from like Warner Brothers did the original Teen Titans and that reboot Thundercats, and then did Teen Titans Go and Thundercats Roar, and it's that kind of zany cartoon,
Yeah.
which I obviously hate.
Great sound effect you've just done as well.
Which it just hurts my soul because it's not cool, actiony, and dramatic.
What kind of audience are they trying to appeal to with that
That
kind
one,
of stuff?
kids, because Teen Titans Go is still going. They love it. It fucking
Oh, I
works.
see. So they're trying to do that, but with Thundercats. But they wouldn't get. But kids nowadays wouldn't get the Thundercats reference anyways.
It's, I watched it when I was over with my nephew. He liked this, they make fart jokes and everything like that, and he was like, loves it.
Yeah.
The twist being, my brother and I watched it, and we're like, this is, first of all, you think, oh god, this is awful. But they use all the same music from the original.
Really?
Which, it's hilarious and stupid and zany, but every bit, like, it's, the Burbles music, or we know every bit of it. So it's this huge wash of nostalgia, because of course the music's the same. You're like, this is fucking cute.
Yeah.
And they've kind of put this not so subtle romance between Tigra and Mumra.
What?
I watched some clips of it, and it's so cute and stupid, because it's just not even the same thing.
Yeah.
But they're like...
Again, who are they trying to market to?
I don't know. And they're like making jokes of like, do we have to start fighting now or can we wait till we get there? He's like, we'll wait till we get there. And they're like driving and like Momora's wearing sunglasses and then Tiger takes a photo and it's like, oh, I look awful. It's like, no, stop. It's it's stupid and cute and not at all the same, but I liked it.
I mean, I do like the kind of zany, random, irreverent kind of humor, but that's really niche, isn't it?
It's fun, but it's, you know,
yeah.
I don't think they can replicate it, which
No.
is a shame. Like I was saying before, like they tried with that and they tried with He-Man. It's like, it just doesn't work. You need to... You're trying to fit the history of the characters in a modern kind of vibe when the characters worked for an 80s vibe.
Yeah.
You need that to translate it to a camp kind of, or
It just fit in a kind
a
of
light action thing.
a modern mold in a way.
Yeah.
Did you? The other thing I do remember, like, when was it? Like maybe 20 years ago, how they were sort of teasing a Thundercats live action film.
They've
Do you remember
been doing that for decades. Yeah.
I don't know how valid those claims are, but it was.
They keep doing it with a lot of the 90s and 80s stuff. They keep saying it's never going to happen.
Yeah, but nowadays it's like we're going to pretend that it's real and see what the reaction is, and if
They've done it.
like
It'd be hideous. It'd be hideous.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Cheetah Woman and Panther Dude? No. Awful. It's going to be awful.
Oh yeah, well they tried that with cats anyway, didn't they? You can't do that with cats. Wouldn't be the same.
That's so awful.
Yeah. Let's not do it. Let's just enjoy Thundercats for what it was in the 80s.
Yeah, one day we'll figure it out how we could make something that's kind of taking itself seriously, but not.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you can do action cartoons that work really well. Obviously, I think the only one I can think of is like the DC Justice League ones, and obviously Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Sure.
And they are, yeah.
But the thing is, like, especially for Avatar, like that vibe they're going for was that kind of anime.
Yeah,
thing,
and it was
that kind of
written
style of animation.
and styled for that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you can take away. I don't know how you would do it,
yeah,
and it's not going to work.
It's just their own thing. And then what was it when you said Justice League? No, Teen Titans.
Yeah, Justice League.
Like they're kind of on the shoulders of the Batman original the animated series, which was its own
fucking
great
incredible
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
And so you have to have a significant thing like that be its own thing.
They were able to take characters that were so iconic that they didn't have to try so hard, which is why it was so good. They just told really good stories, great, adapted from the comics or not, great animation, great voice acting, and they didn't have to try too hard because like Superman, it's Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
it's like let's just tell a story, and it was very easy. But when you're doing like here's a reboot of the Thundercats, like you still have to create the new story. You have to shove it in. Yeah, oh, no, here's the world they live in. It's like, we don't need to do that with those other ones. Avatar, you had to do it, but that was very much, it was done as a mythology kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, and it worked in that way.
Oh, it's so good. It's the best TV show ever.
What? Sorry, what? What's that again?
Avatar was the best TV show ever, and we'll be doing an episode on that at some point.
But you said they own by DC now, so are they making stories?
Thundercats?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen any. I read some a while ago. They did a crossover with He-Man as well because that's owned by DC as well.
Okay.
It again doesn't really make sense. And He-Man doesn't really work in the comics either because that's camp as fuck. Like She-Ra showed up and cut some kids' heads off, and I'm like, this is not my Adora. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know what's going on here, but
again, who are they marketing to?
I don't exactly. Well,
nostalgia.
Me. Yeah, exactly. 40-year-old at the time, 30-year-old people who lived through this and loved it at the time.
Well, there you go.
But yeah. So I recently. So every. No, that's gonna make me sound lame. I like to watch an 80s cartoon once a year, and I don't rewatch, more than that because it's a bit pathetic. And get drunk and watch a series of like 80s cartoons. I do it on New Year's Eve, whatever. It's my New Year's Eve tradition.
That sounds great.
It is. Every year it's great. Everyone's like, "What you doing?" It's like I'm ordering pizza, getting drunk, and watching 80s cartoons. And that's the only time of the year I watch it because I don't want to be the person who watches it all the time.
Sure.
And a couple of years ago, because I don't know which one I'm going to pick, and I was like, I'll just pick some Thundercats ones just to kind of get the show on the road. And it was the drugs episode that I watched
on New Year's Eve.
And it's, yes, because when you take from that approach of like, oh, these were fun, but whatever, you're not too critical, a little bit buzzed.
Yeah.
They hold up in the fact that they are fun, brilliantly animated, cool powers, cool characters. And that's how you kind of got to... I would recommend everyone let's get drunk and watch Thundercats together, basically. I think that's the best thing
If you want us to do that, listener, right in.
I think we should do that anyway. I think we're going to let's do a live stream where like we
get drunk and watch Thundercats. Yeah, I'd be totally down for that. And we can have people who listen in, like we'll make a live stream and people can join in.
I think I would love that more than anything in the world.
We gotta figure out how to watch it though.
I've got them all.
Legally downloaded as well?
Legally, because I got the DVDs.
I see.
I paid for the DVDs and then I ripped them all onto there.
Okay, fine. That makes sense.
Yeah, so if you'd like to do a Thundercats or any other 80s kind of themed watch party,
let's do it. We are going to do something similar with the X-Men because before that new show comes out, we rewatch the 90s.
Yeah. We'll do the same. I think we just do all of them on social. I think we do loads of them.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I did want to say one thing I learned in researching for this, because obviously I always thought the Thundercats were gay, and obviously Tiger has been kind of an unofficial gay icon. It kind of talked about queer coding, which he did with Mum-Ra, like he did with all the other villains of the time.
Sure.
Like someone who's really camp can be evil, that sort of stuff. They also did with Snarf, because obviously Snarf is a male character, but is really effeminate because they're a joke and a silly kind of thing.
Oh, right, okay. It's like the nurse kind of ish character.
Yeah, so that's kind of not great representation. However, Tiger's character is not queer, but we all identify with it.
We kind of made him queer.
However, I found out today the voice actor for Panthro was an out gay actor.
Really?
And I had no idea. He played Bill Cosby's father on The Cosby Show.
Okay.
But he was a stage actor as well. And even in his bio, it doesn't say out and gay, but lived with a man for like 40 years.
Right.
A Norwegian seaman. Because Panthro was also fluent in Norwegian.
Was he?
Yeah. This is what I learned.
Randomly? Being from another planet, that's kind of what you do, isn't it?
But there you go. And to have this big, buff, brilliant black character be played by a somewhat out gay actor.
And his name is Hyman.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny. Just looking him up right now, yeah.
I think that gives it a lot more nuance to it, so I'm excited to rewatch them knowing Panthro, because he could have been, the character could 100% have been gay.
Well, Panthro,
Tigra, sure. Lino, any of them. There was no romance, no chemistry with anything. So any of them could technically have been gay, and if they did a reboot, any of them would have been.
Yeah. You probably would do that nowadays.
Although no, like the 2011 one, they tried to make Tiger and Chitara a thing, and no, none of that, thank you. And then Lionel liked her as well. Like, no, whatever. So I think that's also a freedom that you have for it, because there was no boy-girl couplings like there were in every other thing. You had the kind of freedom to do whatever you want with it. And because there were different expressions of masculinity, all of which were fairly positive, from the Tigers and the Liners and the Panthers and Whitey Cats and everything like that, it was less, you didn't have to, you kind of make up your mind and identify with any of them. And
well, I mean, I suppose it makes you think about when you're watching these shows as kids, like how much heteronormativity do you need shoved down your throat anyway? Ugh. It's like, why do we have to do that?
We didn't need that.
And so Thundercats didn't do that.
And it didn't, and I suppose, without knowing it, it's a way of not making you feel different.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't other us, because there weren't all the boys going after all the girls or whatever, that sort of stuff. No one was fighting over Chitara, who was clearly either a drag queen or a lesbian.
Yeah.
So any of it, it wasn't that, but you could have easily imprinted on that, because clearly I did.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I'm the only one who did. So, yeah, and they didn't get that in the 2011 version of it.
Well, I suppose I get that you're trying to do something different, but why? You're clearly not focusing on the things that did work.
Yeah,
in the first one. If you're changing stuff like that,
they're trying to. Yeah, but I wonder if they noticed anything like that. I mean, that's a very queer kind of way of looking at it.
Yeah, there you go.
But there we go. I could talk more. We'll do something about it another time. But
you could talk more, but I've been so bored this past hour.
I'm so sorry.
I'm joking.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love hearing about it. It makes me want to watch it. I definitely want to look into how I can watch at least those 5-part ones, because I have zero experience with this, and it seems like it's like a thing that people talk about and reference, and I want to be included in this club.
Let's absolutely.
Should we save it for the drunk watch, like a 5-part for I can watch it for the first time, drunk or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Let's do it.
I don't know how we're gonna do that. I want to live stream it as well.
You do.
Yeah, but then people can't. What? I don't know how to figure that out.
If you, dear listener, have an idea that can help us watch it all together in a big community thing, please.
Can we do it on Twitch?
Yes,
I can
probably.
share a screen.
But are you able to show something that is not your is there property rights kind of thing?
Probably not.
Help us out, listener. Let us know what we can do. We need your help. Get in touch on email at incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to join us for a live streaming or just watch us drunk watching it or anything like that, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Incomplete Geeks.
Please like and share this episode if you liked it. If you want to give us a rating, please do that. Because we try our best. We know a lot about a lot of geeky things. We apologize if we get anything wrong. I'm sure Nick didn't. But I'm pretty stupid about it because, as it turns out, I'm not a complete geek.
But we are working on it.
Thanks for listening.
Bye! Thundercats, ho!